Hello and welcome to Stepping into Your True Essence with Nina and Jemaa, myself. Nina Ruberti is an amazing animal intuitive communicator and with humans as well. She is a Reiki master. She is very gifted in mediumship and is able to receive messages from people that have passed to the other side and that want to bring messages to their loved ones still on the earth plane. And Nina is able to do all of that, which is amazing. Myself, my little bio. Well, I came here to planet Earth for a little bit. I do intuitive readings myself. I can tap into the energy field, Akashic records, the quantum space of all that is around people, places, animals, trees, nature, and even objects. I feel everything has some kind of frequency consciousness that I can tap into and receive information and give people answer questions that anyone has for their life. So we're going to get to it. Stepping into your true essence. Nina and I are going to dive into some conversation about that. Just the basics, right? Basics of how we can help people fine tune their intuition. And so what do you feel is that, Nina?
Yes, thank you for that beautiful introduction and sounds amazing. And I also have Bailey here in my
Yes.
lap, which is also he is very intuitive and he wants to be part of this podcast, but not on
He did.
on
He
the
jumped. He
podcast.
jumped right on your lap, like right. You're like, okay, my giant dog is jumping on my lap.
Yes, my 70-pound boxer is sitting in my lap.
They do, though. The animals really gravitate to.
The
I
energy.
know when you
Yes.
do your work, and I know a lot of times when I do, yeah, animals, people, clients will say, "Oh, my dog is like right up on me," and sure enough, that's what Bailey did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they just appear and they're curious. They want to come into the energy field. Yeah. So what are some things that, let's see, that I do when before a session of tuning in? Yeah, so like I always, make sure that I clear the space, make sure it's clear. And there's many different ways of doing that by like singing, dancing. Basically, I do use a lot of sage. I call in the angels and my spirit guides, all of the highest light, possibly the archangels, guardian angels, the animal guides that I have. Like I have a council of some feline beings, and it's all of the highest light. And then when I session, I actually also call in for their highest self, their beings, so that we're all in communication and on the same page. And one of the main things that I do to also so that I am grounded and fully embodied is like get into nature, do a lot of meditation. I as well also like clear all of my energy and chakras and the energy centers to make sure that we're completely in alignment with source, so that we're able to receive the messages clearly. Which like I receive images, I hear things, I receive sensations in my body, a knowing. So that's all like the clairs of if someone is not familiar, it's like clairsentient, clairvoyant, clairaudient, claircognizant, which is knowing, seeing. I'm not in that order, but yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah. All the
yeah.
and so where do you think it all start like when it because it started somewhere, right? So and it probably started simple. So like for someone that's just starting out to really tap into their own intuitive senses, what are some good tools that someone could use to start tapping into that, into
So
their essence?
into their essence, right? So because as you and I both know, we're all very intuitive beings. We all like, basically have that gut instinct, or we feel it like, oh, I should have turned left instead of right, or I should have done this, or I shouldn't have done that. So we all have that. It's whether we trust it and listen to it and act according to it.
Right.
But like I think a lot of the things are it's kind of I know when I'm speaking with clients or friends that they communicating with animals or just tuning into a client, they to realize those slight nuances of maybe like an image of all of a sudden I may see, oh God, I can't even think now. An image of possibly, well, actually, I was like doing a Reiki session the other day, and all of a sudden I was being shown, like I scanned their body, and it was being shown like this lima bean, but it was the kidney. So it was being spotlighted on for her as doing a scan. And it was basically to clear the energy and make sure that, um, to kind of focus on the kidney to see
Yeah.
if she was hydrated or maybe toxins needed to be flushed out. But it's just those slight little nuances of maybe images or, sensations. Like all of a sudden
Yeah.
you may get an ache, a sensation in your ear, and
Mhm.
it's not yours. You
Yeah.
could ask, is this yours? And if you're still feeling it, or if it goes away, then you'll know it's yours or the other person's.
That's good.
Um,
That's good. Yeah. So that's one thing to, yeah, when you get a sensation, yeah, ask yourself, oh, is this mine? Where is this coming from? And usually something will show up to give you that answer. I know for me, like, um, just to know that I'm on the right path or that there is beyond this 3D matrix, I'll see things in like numbers. And so that gives me a clue that I'm like, oh, I'm tapped into something beyond this because I'll see my favorite numbers over and over. And I'll go and look up messages like the angel number messages, like, oh my God, I saw 889 on 5 license plates. Something's trying to tell, so these are like the very beginning, and I still use these tools. So this is like what I did 10 years ago, and continue to yeah, use those kind of, I guess, basic tools to know that there is something going on, because that to me is intuitive, like that's heightening your intuition
yes,
when you see the numbers or pictures, or sometimes it's words. Like, just this happened to me the other day. Um I'm listening to a podcast. I don't know, one of my favorite, I think it was a Joe Dispenza.
oh,
Love
he's
him.
great. Yes.
And I look over on the counter on a piece of paper, and right when he says the word water, I read the word water. That's, to me, is something that's connecting beyond this physical. So those are tools for to heighten our intuition as well, like those kind of connections. And then the
Yes.
feelings, um, like those, yeah, like, should I go left or right? Like, feel it in your gut. Um, I also will do a game with myself when you're driving in the car and you can't see the car coming from the other way yet, like from around the corner. So then you think, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and see into that other lane, and a white car is gonna come, and so I'll, once in a while, I'm right once in a while, and
Yes.
I'm not,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, we do that. I do that a lot when we're on trails hiking. And it's like, let's tap into the field to see what's ahead of us. And it's like, oh, there may be a young girl with a kid on a bicycle,
Yeah.
or someone in a red shirt, or
Yeah.
something like that. And it is really amazing as to how much you can tap into it. And
Right.
it's very accurate.
It's very, yeah, because it's the
And
quantum field where there is no time and
right.
everything really is happening simultaneously. Now we're
Yeah.
getting into some
Well, you're
more
right.
complex stuff, but those exercises are really fun
Yes.
to
And
do.
they expand
To do.
it's like a muscle,
Mhm.
that the more you exercise it, the more and more it becomes stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
yeah. And another one is to use a deck of cards and try to pick the card that, Queen of Hearts, where's the Queen of Hearts in the deck? I did that with my kids when they were
Yes.
younger. And
Yes. Yeah. 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 Yes. Yes.
then
Yeah.
what section is it in? Sometimes, right away, Queen of Hearts. But then it would take a while, like, it would be like, oh, I get this section. And it was a race to who could find the Queen of Hearts first.
Or
But
like what?
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done like with a deck of cards that you could just do to start out with is red or black, and you can go through each. the whole
Perfect.
deck of cards and be like, okay, and just kind of tune in and just see the colors,
That's perfect
and
too.
see how that comes, and then you can start doing the suits, or then you get to the queen, and yeah, everything.
That
Yeah,
is
which is great.
amazing. Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. That, yeah, yeah, start simple.
Yeah, yeah,
Get 'em
start simple, right? Because
right.
it's, I mean, you start simple and you'll be amazed as to how much more intuitive we really are,
Right.
as
Yeah,
beings. And
we
there's so
are.
much that we know and that we are receiving, but we're not aware of it
Mm-hmm.
because, we're not really taught that. But
Right.
when you have like all of a sudden you have this idea that pops in your head, or you're thinking of someone and they call, and, that's
That-
all with,
yeah. That happened to me yesterday. It's happening more like really powerful though. It wasn't just, oh, I think this is gonna happen, or like it was an almost it was really powerful yesterday. Like for the first time, it was like, oh, we were already communicating. I could feel the communication happening through the ethers, and then the phone call happened, and it was like, oh, so everything is sped up. So we really are in a very powerful time
yes, the
on
veil
planet
is
Earth
thinning.
to really activate these gifts that we have, and
Yes.
we do
Yeah.
have the gift of intuition and telepathy, and all of that. So,
Right.
and we
Yeah.
want everybody out there to be able to tap into these gifts. And so
Yes.
please put in the comments your experiences with tapping in with your intuition and tools, and your like your tools that you use to heighten. Um,
Yeah. Or possibly like different practices that you do.
yeah.
Like maybe you're tuning into your dog and it's kind of like have him sit, and all of a sudden he sits, and he probably knows sit, or he's in the car, or even with your kids. I mean, there's things that you telepathically can tune in, and
Hmm.
showing them images. Like for dogs or animals, they see images, and
Yeah.
that's how we communicate. So instead of like saying, don't jump, because the universe doesn't know no, and animals don't know no,
Right.
they automatically see an image like, oh, don't jump, but you're portraying an image in your head of jumping. So basically, if you say like paws on the floor, you automatically are visualizing an image with paws on the floor, which is being relayed to the animal. So it's more of an automatic thing, because telepathically we are, relaying those images to
Right.
the animal. And
And
I think probably the same thing with children or kids or even your spouse or
friends
significant other.
and yeah, because we're really moving into that. I think those are our original way of communication. I could
Yes,
never understand throughout my life, like why we could not telepath, like I don't know, there was just something that just wasn't right, that we just weren't grasping. So and like, why
yeah,
can't I just turn off the light switch with my mind, or
right.
like coming into these bodies is like, wow.
Well, and we know spirits can, so we should be able
And we should
to.
be able to, which that's
Right.
what's going
Yes.
on right now. Yeah. Hi,
Yeah.
Bailey. Oh my
And
goodness.
Bailey is the salt lamp just
He's like a
he's
giant
like
dog
he is like, I wish that y'all could see him, because he is like so on top of my lap, and just like wanting to be right here.
in this.
Um,
Yeah,
and
I
he's
love it
communicating
because
to
he's
us telepathically. So
yeah, they're such high vibrational beings. So when we're connected,
yes,
because you and I are, even though we're talking through this, but we're also connected energetically, and we're
right,
connected to the collective field as well, because that's what we're tapping into right now to give this information that we're
yeah.
playing right
Well,
now.
and
So
it's interesting though, like when you're saying why can't we do this? Like there's so many times like I've been like, well, words can't describe this, and and it's kind of like, because the English language was not really our first,
no,
it's telepathy that we could communicate, and then you can express what it is that you are
right.
feeling, or those sensational like
Yeah.
feelings, but
It is
words
pictures,
don't
right?
describe it. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. That's same with certain languages, like the Hawaiian language is all a description of what is seen.
Oh, the beauty. Right. Yes.
Beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Makes sense. Right.
yeah, really
Yeah.
cool.
It's kind of fast. It's all fast. It's all very fascinating, because we are all in this field and we are all able to communicate without words, and as long as we're on these frequencies,
Mm-hmm.
um, the different frequencies that we're on,
Yeah,
that, yeah, we are in the same field,
that was exactly. Yeah.
communicate.
And when did you first start knowing about your gifts? Like, what was your first really like?
Uh, the first, I think as a kid, I really remember playing with fairies when I was a little kid. Playing, I can still visualize this, playing in the backyard, and there was this tree, and there was a bunch of moss and mica. I grew up here in North Carolina, and there's all this mica, which is the shiny,
Oh,
if someone doesn't know mica, it's very shiny. It's stone, but it's layers of like clairvescent. I've got one, but it's over there. It's just beautiful. And I used to always play with the moss and the mica, and I swear the fairies. But as we get old, or as that's really not real, right? Or at least
right.
we were
Yeah.
told. So you kind of turn it off. And, I've always into, yeah, the unknown, the spirits, I know my grandmother used to kind of tune in and hear a lot of things, but she was like Italian from Italy. And back then you just put garlic all around the house, all around the windows. So that prevented evil spirits from coming in.
Okay.
So it kind of comes from a line,
I
like come
love
from a
it.
line of that. Know that the first real recently was in 2012. It was around Christmas time or October. Um, and all of a sudden, like my garbage in the middle of the night, all the TVs in my house started going off. It was white noise. And then the garbage disposal went off.
Oh my
And I
goodness.
was like, oh my God, okay, there's no one in my house. It was just me and my dogs. And I was like, what is that? And so I got up, and for some reason it didn't really scare me. And it was just like, oh my God, who is in here? Which saying spiritually, who's in here?
Yeah.
Because when I knew no one was in my house. And so I turned off the TV, and then I went to turn off the other TV. And then by the time I was walking to the kitchen to turn the garbage disposal off, the other TVs had gone on. And I was like, oh my goodness, what is going on?
Bailey,
Bailey, do you want to say
say hello, Bailey. Oh my goodness. He's so
you're
cute.
I talked to like a medium friend of mine, and she was like,
Okay.
"Oh my goodness, Nina." She's like, it was a friend's grandmother had passed away, and I had spoken to her, and she was walking the El Camino, and she
Mm,
knew that if she came to me, I would somehow get a message to her
wow.
daughter.
Okay.
And then at Christmas time is when it all started, because
Wow.
my Christmas tree lights go off like a light switch. And then there's a
Wow.
message and a person and I've been relaying messages since 2012.
Wow. That's amazing.
Because they take out my Christmas tree lights, which is very sacred to me. That is like one of my, like,
Yeah, like, no, you don't turn off my Chris. Yeah, that's really got your attention.
so
That
how about you?
that is so cool. Well, similar, I definitely had definitely, and I hear this a lot with more of the heightened intuitives out there, is that the fairies are real.
Yeah, yes,
I
yes.
played with the fairies as well. And unicorns,
Yes.
I mean,
Still
but I
love the
really would
unicorns and the
see them,
fairies.
yeah, when I was a kid. And I grew up in a beautiful, magical place in the redwoods, and truly would see. I had a horse, and I don't just it, I just felt like things were always, I was different. Life was different, and then I think when I truly came online with knowing what intuition and all that is probably early 30s. I started, looking at books that were energy healing books, and all of that, and started doing readings for friends and family. Um,
Yeah.
so, and then after that, yeah. And then it's just been an endless journey. I know for so many of us, just this inward, endless, and I'm sure it's going to continue to be. as well as we go into these higher and higher frequencies. We're gonna more and more of our gifts and powers are gonna come online.
Yes,
So
which
it's
is very, very exciting.
it
Yes.
is because
I
I'm
mean,
like,
it's magical because the things that you're
yeah,
able to tap in, and I know with clients of mine, they're like, "Oh my goodness, how do you know that?" Like it's remotely done, right? So you don't have to be in the physical presence. It's like how you describe my house and you've never been to my house. I tuned into a
right,
client's animal, and the dog was blind. And it was just showing me that it was scared to go down some stairs. And so she showed me an image of these stairs, and the client was like, "You described my house perfectly, and you've
yeah,
never been to it." And it's like, but
yeah,
I don't have to be, because we are communicating with the animal and they're showing us
yeah,
what it is that we need to know or the client needs to know. And it's very, I mean, it's magical. It's amazing
it
of
is.
what we're able to do as humans, and all human beings can do it. Like we're all capable of it.
I really believe that, and it's
You
just,
know?
and it's like a muscle. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
because I'll find if I don't use my intuition, or if I go through a little period where I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do as many readings, I can feel like, do I know how to do that still? And then
Right. We get
then I
nervous all the time. It's
or I'm
all
like, oh
kicked
yeah,
in.
okay, I do know, but
Yes, and then all of a sudden
definitely,
it's like, oh, of course. And yeah, I mean, because you can't make the things up. Like it's like the messages or the like the hearing or the knowing or the
yeah,
images you see, you can't make it up. And
yeah,
and when it matches the client that you're talking to, it's just like,
yeah.
wow,
And
yeah,
so
it's
for
it's
those, so
powerful
practice,
stuff.
yeah, and so for people out there, practice if you're not already with your friends, because that's what I do. It's like, with my, because I can find things also, and so friends will call and say, "Can you find my sweater for me? I don't know where
I'll
it's at."
help find cats and dogs,
Yeah, you
right?
know
That's
to
what I'm
find, yeah,
into.
missing cats and missing
Yes,
dogs. But use these as tools. So for
right.
those of you out there that are just, wanting to step into more of your superpowers of using your intuition and tapping into that quantum field, just start practicing with friends and that get you,
Yeah, yeah.
calling you crazy
And
in a really loving way, not in the mean way.
right. And then maybe put a comment as to the little like exercise that you tried and
Yeah,
what happened.
let us
You
know.
can, yeah, because
Yeah,
it's fun, and just be with friends and just be like, okay, what am I thinking? I mean, just
yeah.
random, just crazy random things,
Colors,
or
start with colors. Like
colors.
I do that with my kids. I'm wrong every time, but I don't know for some reason.
Or, I have some like you can put on postcards, like different, like maybe flowers or like like a
Yeah,
like not insects, but animals or whatever. And then you pick a card
yeah,
and, tune into it. And let's say if it's a bee, you can visualize
right.
the bee or yellow and black or whatever it is, and then have the person
Yeah.
see what you're thinking about,
I love that.
which is a fun little game to
Those
do.
are simple game. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it's something that
Exercises.
can expand your mind and your intuition and everything else
Mhm.
that, yeah, which is kind of
Yeah,
exciting.
and yeah, exactly. And then meditating is really important because then you're tapping into your own energy field, and that's science. So we all are energy. We have an energy field. And so when you do go into meditation and do visualizing through these meditations, they do work because it will
Yes.
change your energy field and create in your
Yeah.
reality too.
Yes.
So
Yeah. And when we're at a higher vibration from through meditation, you're able to manifest and to create you're that much more powerful from creating
yeah,
because you are at a higher frequency. So the
yeah,
creation is easier and
yeah,
it comes more natural
yeah.
to do that. Yeah, and like also I know that at times, a lot of people are like, I can't meditate, I can't sit still. But once you kind of get out of your head,
Hmm.
and get that out and clear it, you will, I mean, it's amazing as to how it becomes your yeah, it's so bizarre that you become so expansive. Like,
Yeah,
and you don't feel the denseness of your body because you've expanded
mm,
so like it's
yeah,
hard to explain.
yeah.
Right? There we go. Words
No,
cannot explain
no words
it.
can't yeah, really. It's like, yeah, to
You're
try
like
to,
you're nowhere, but you're everywhere, and
yeah,
I mean, it's crazy, but
I
it's
love getting into that space because when I, yeah, because that doesn't happen a lot for me because I'm in my head a lot. So even in my
right.
meditations, but a few times where you do feel like
Yeah.
you're here and everywhere. And that's just in that real neutral place.
Yes.
So,
Yes. I know there's a few things for that I work on practicing to get into the neutral place or to get like in my body because a lot of times we're all out here because we're all in our head and I always kind of like try ground and I always kind of visualize, going from your head, your shoulders, all the way down to your feet and then through Mother Earth and kind of going through the crystals of like looking at the emerald greens and the waterfalls way deep into Mother Earth. And that way feeling
yeah.
very grounded and in your body.
Hmm.
Because then when we're more in our body, we're able to kind of tune into what's all online that's out there for us.
Yes, I
That's
love
it.
that.
Because I have a tough time. A lot of times I'm out here.
Me
So
too.
it's always kind of
Yeah.
pulling ourselves back into our body.
Hmm. That's what I'm
Right.
always doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I always get into nature a lot, with
Mhm.
especially this one that's on my lap
Yeah.
that I wish y'all could see, but yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
love
like getting into nature is so good because
it.
when
Is.
you like take in the five senses of like taking smelling and like getting your feet on the ground or just
Yeah.
seeing and just taking it all in from the five senses is amazing.
Well, and nature is like, I feel the highest frequency that we want to get ourselves to. So,
Yes.
because we can just through the everyday life, our frequency can feel like it's getting lowered. I think our true essence, like that's our stepping into our true essence, because we automatically are those high frequencies. So, but we can get too much in our head and go, oh, that's bringing me, feels like into a lower frequency. So when you go into nature, it for me also, it just
Yes.
automatically
Yeah. It
raises me
just,
up.
yeah. Everything that you thought of or goes out. Yeah. Your mind just
Yeah.
becomes blank, which
Yeah.
is a very freeing thing to do.
Well, it
Yes.
just feels it in my alt, and it's good to drop into our heart space too. So
Yes.
when you're feeling
Yes. Yeah.
stressed, just go drop right into here
Hmm.
and get
Yeah.
into,
You can, I mean, you just feel it immediately as you start even speaking about it.
yeah.
And the more and more practice, the more and more that you just instantaneously can just be like heart drop.
Yep, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Training, it's like, yeah, training the self to do that.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's amazing. So those are some really good tools. So, let us know the
Yes.
tools that you guys use out there. And yeah, we would love to hear that. And yeah, do we have anything else? We can wrap it up. I guess one last tool that we did right before we push record is that we like to use oracle cards
Yes. Yes.
so to help us feel connected to what we're doing in the spiritual work. And there's been lots of people that have done amazing job that I feel resonance with. Uh,
Hmm. Well,
uh,
and like the oracle cards help get your mind out of the way. So it removes us from getting out of the way. Like we
mm,
get out of the way so we're able to be connected, um, to be like more connected with source so that our mind's out of the way.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to like enhance our gifts. And
Right.
there's so many tools out there. And so with these oracle cards, um, let's see, you pulled a couple from your animal deck.
So I pulled two from my animal deck, which was amazing. I pulled the giraffe, and
Awesome.
that is all about aspire to higher knowledge and wisdom,
Cool.
which what we're talking about, getting into
Yep,
our true essence, will do. And then I also pulled the rabbit, which is to recognize your significance.
that's
As
amazing.
we all have significance in this world, and if we come from purity and joy and love, we can assist in sharing that throughout the
Love
world
that.
too. So I think you have some cards, so
I
maybe we
did. I
should
saw
pull
I,
one now.
as you
Great.
were talking, those are beautiful messages. So hopefully that helped for some of you out there. And my deck I just got the other day, the Herbal Tea Magic for the Modern Witch. And so let's see, I pulled Star Anise. So youth, falling in love, spiritual aid. That's kind of what we were talking about. Like
Right.
what do we have? What do we have or what can do we have access to help us along our spiritual path and to grow? And star anise. So I'm going to read that. And I love herbs because I feel like these beautiful plants and herbs, flowers, they are consciousness and can give us messages. And so this particular one, let's see, is it alphabetical? Okay. Star anise gives off a star-crossed lover's vibe, probably because it looks like a star. And the fact that it can be confused with Japanese star anise, which is actually poisonous, very Romeo and Juliet, if you ask me. When we're young, we tend to romanticize just about everything, including people we barely even knew. Youth allows us the gift of mistakes, falling in love with the right and wrong people, asking for help, and asking for forgiveness as well. Fortunately, things tend to work out okay, in the end, even if it's not the way we expect them to. Star anise tells you to reach for the heavens and fall in love, but do it with your eyes open. So that is beautiful. So, I don't
And
know.
that could be fall in love with yourself.
As you're reading my mind.
Oh, yeah.
So
I
it's
mean,
like,
that's where we have to start.
that's right. So I just love all of these messages from,
Yeah,
um,
they're very
yeah,
pretty.
my another oracle deck is my crystal is a crystal deck.
Yes.
And by Judy Hall. And there's just so many out there.
Oh my gosh, I've got it's
I have
I
a
can't
lot of
even count.
decks. Yeah.
Yeah, so many. It's like, oh well, let's see, what are we feeling today? I'll pull one from today, and that's
Yeah.
the same thing with like your intuition, and it always gives you the exact message that you need to hear. So it's
Absolutely.
amazing. Yeah.
It is.
So we
Yeah.
look forward to seeing everyone on the next video, right? Or seeing their comments and how
So
they help
excited to download. Yeah. So we'll figure out what we'll talk about next time. And thanks for being here with us. And we'll see you soon.
yes, and
Love
bye from
everybody.
Bailey as well. If you can see him.
Bye, Bailey. Okay. Bye.
Wanted to be here, right? Okay. Bye bye.